Welcome to the video on the laws of logarithms. So in this video we're going to discuss some basic rules that we can apply to logarithms in order to simplify them. So the three main ones we're going to talk about today are the multiplication law, the division law, and the power law. So the multiplication law basically states that if we have a log with the base and then we have two components that are being multiplied over here, then what we can do is we can separate them into two different logs. So we can separate this into log base b of m plus log base b of n. So if you have two components that are being multiplied, then you can separate them into two different logs that are added together. So the main thing you have to remember with multiplication is that they are added. So as you probably might have guessed already, in the division law it's exactly the opposite. If you have two components that are being divided, then you would subtract. So log base b of m over n is the same thing as log base b of m minus log base b of n. And one thing I forgot to mention is that if you have two separate logs like this that have the same base, remember you always have to see that they have the same base, and you have something like this, you could always convert it back to the simplified version, which is log base b of m times n. So the last one we're going to talk about is the power rule. And in the power rule, if you have a log where there's something to the power of something else, then what you could do is you can bring this power back down in front of the log and multiply it with the log. So the key word you have to remember is multiply if you have a power. So visually, log base b of m to the k is the same thing as k times log base b of n. So you basically take that exponent and stick it right in front of the log right there. As with the other logs, you can, if you have something in front of the log, you can bring it up top and make it a power. So let's try these practice ones. We have log base b of 3 plus 1. Okay, so the first thing we need to see is that they have the same base. And this has the base of b, but 1 is not a log. So the first thing we have to do is make this a log. So the way we would make it a log is we have to see what can we multiply b, what power do we have to raise b to in order to get, if we take b to the power of 1, what will we get? And the answer is b, right? So we can rewrite this as log base b of 3 plus log base b of b, because b to the first power equals 1. B to the first power equals b. So that's why we basically rewrote 1 as a log with the base of b, so that we can now apply the rule that we discussed earlier in order to combine the two logs together. So that's why we convert the integer into a log. So now that we have two logs with the same base, we can do the reverse of this rule right here, and we would get log base b of 3 times b, or 3b. And that's our final answer right there. So just as a recap, in case you didn't catch me with all the errors that I made, what we basically did was we converted this integer into a log. And the way we did that was we looked at what the base was in the log before that, which was b, and since we have 1, we say, what do we get if we raise b to the first power? And the answer is b. So that's why we wrote it as log base b of b. Alright, so let's move on to the next problem. So we have log base b of x minus 3 log b of y. So we have to apply two rules here. The first one is the exponent rule, or the power rule that we have here. So we have a number that's a coefficient of the log. So what we have to do is we have to move it up here as a power. So we would get log base v of x minus log base b of y cubed. Because we basically took this coefficient and moved it up top right there. So now what we can do is we can apply our division rule right here, and we would get log base b of x over y cubed. And that's our answer. So finally, let's look at the last one. And we have 1/2 times log a base a of 36. So as we did in this problem right here, what we're going to do is we're going to take this coefficient and move it up top right here. So we would get log base a of 36 to the 1/2 power. And in order to simplify this even more, we know that something to a fractional power means that we're going to take some kind of root, and 1/2, the 1/2 power, means that we're going to take the square root of the number. So because of that, we have log base a of the root of 36, and the square root of 36 is 6. So this becomes log base a of 6, and that is our final answer. So these are the 3 most commonly used laws of logarithms, and we will be using this in the future videos to solve logarithms and do a bunch of other operations with them. So thanks for watching.